Meeting. In accordance with South Carolina Freedom of Information Act, Section 3480-E, South Carolina Code 1987 is amended. All the meeting areas are notified the date, time, location, and agenda of the meeting. This time we have our prayer from Mr. Gomez.
Let's bow our heads. Father, it is going to become to ask your guidance as we attempt to do the will of this board and this community. We ask, God, that you allow us to do what we have been elected to do, and that it will be in the best interest of our children and the citizens of Darlington County, and that we will take self out and put what is best, Lord, in front of us. This we ask in your name. Amen.
Now stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'll now ask for approval of the agenda.
Second.
Second. Discussion. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Citizens' comments. We have two people signed up for tonight. I'll read what we have, the criteria for this. The first 30 minutes of the monthly meeting will be set aside for 3-minute input sessions for citizen participation. Participation will be approved on a first-come, first-talk basis as recorded on a log which is provided. Public input should be in the form of suggestions, information, or comments pertaining to programs, schools, or the school district. Based on legal advice from our counsel, comments should not be made either complimentary or critical, naming any student, school employee, administrator, or board member, as these matters are personnel matters that require an executive session. Speakers' comments will be received only as board information. Okay, first we have Ms. Rose Pruitt. Good evening.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Board members, my name is Rose Pruitt. I'm on the Darlington City Historic Landmark Committee, and I know that you guys are probably real tired of hearing about the St. John's Elementary Rosenwald merger issues, but I've got to throw my 2 cents in as well. So I just want to point out that something that I'm sure that you all know is the fact that St. John's Elementary is on the National Register of Historic Places. And Rosenwald would probably qualify as well if that was something that they wanted to pursue. I think that it's important to note that being on the National Register can open up a facility like a school. It doesn't have to be a historic home. To grant funding and a little bit of maybe help getting some of those issues taken care of that you guys are so concerned about at the elementary schools. I hope that you will consider that, because there was something in the newspaper article this last week that kind of caught my attention and made me a little bit alarmed, and that was the fact that if you decide not to move ahead with the merger and keep the schools, that it did sound like you were leaning towards demolition by neglect, by not making repairs that were necessary, and I hope that that is not the case. The oldest building in the world that has been constantly occupied has been the Pantheon in Rome, and it's been occupied for 2,000 years. We certainly didn't tear down the White House or the Capitol building when they needed renovations, and so I urge you to think carefully about making a decision that would impact those historic structures. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Mike Beckham.
Good evening, board. How are y'all doing? I want to thank y'all for the opportunity that you're allowing us to give you some input. I think you can tell from the 2 public hearings that you recently had, there is a lot of I guess you say people that are affiliated not only with Rosenwald, with St. John's, the history, the affection that they have for these schools. I want you to keep that consideration as you go through making decisions that y'all have to do about this proposed merger with Rosenwald and St. John's Elementary. It's a touchy subject. I'm glad I'm not in your shoes because the will of the people are clearly evident out there in the county. So I would like for one thing you need to keep in mind. Think of the people, think of the feelings, think of the taxpayers as well. So that's all I have for you. Thank you for allowing me to say these few words.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming. Okay, moving on. Adult education admissions.
I move to accept the recommendation.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor of that motion? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes for the March 14, 2022 regular meeting, and minutes March 28, 2022 board work session. You take those.
Chairman, I move to accept both.
Motion is second. Discussion on that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Honors, awards, and recognitions. This would be art and business. Ms. Audrey?
Yes, sir. I'm going to
You're
stay
up.
seated and try and do all of this while I'm talking to you. We're very excited to present this year's Art and Business Awards. As you know, in the past we've had a big district art show. We were unable to make that happen with the time frame this year, but we look forward to having our art show next year. We're excited about that, but we are very, very excited because we have the opportunity to honor our amazing student artists. And so just to go through them real quickly so you'll have a chance to see them on the screen behind you. These are our art winners for each school. Each of these art students will get a $50 award and a ribbon, and then at the end we will announce our big winners. But hopefully it's going to work. In a minute it'll work. Okay, so in our primary school division, we have Theodore Cushman with kindergarten. He's at Southside Early Childhood Center with his tree. We have Aziz Fegan, Forever Friends at Pate Elementary School. Nora Roca, Colorful Owl at North Hartsville Elementary School. At our elementary school divisions, this is grades 3rd through 5th grade. We have Aaliyah Jackson with Andy Flowers at Bay Road Elementary School. Razia Harry with Leaves at Lamar Spalding Elementary School. Bella Gainey with Love You at St. John's Elementary School. Ariana Jackson, Learning in Times of Pandemic at J.L. Kane Elementary School. Gabrielle Smith, Paradise at Brockington Elementary Magnet School. Lucas Gilliam, Sunflowers at Rosenwald Elementary Middle School. Kelmara Edwards, Sunset Curve at Thornwell School for the Arts. Bella Huggins, The Snowy Night at Carolina Elementary School. And then in our middle school division, which is grades 6 through 8, we have Aiden Blackman, A Day in the Jungle at Spalding Middle School. Chloe McElveen, Inspiring Women, Nicole at Hartsville Middle School. Sharon Yang, Study of Perspective, Darlington County Virtual Academy. Skylar Edwards, Zentangle Valley at Darlington Middle School. And then in our high school division, we have Kelsey Gilmore, A Day at the Beach at Lamar High. Jakayla Johnson, Kat at Mayo High School for Math, Science, and Technology. Nathan Evans, Kathy at Darlington County Institute of Technology. Abby Reckner of Off the Wall 11th grader at Darlington High School. And that is our, oh wait, we got one more, sorry. And Venus Zhang, Untitled at Hartsville High School. Okay, and so now our grand prize winners, these students will get an additional $50. They will get a bigger ribbon, and their art teachers will get $200 for supplies. All of this is sponsored by our business sponsors, and this artwork will hang in the businesses for 1 year. So our grand prize winners now, for grades K through 2, we have Aziz Fegan, Forever Friends, 2nd grader at Pate Elementary School. And so that is for grade K2. Grades 3 through 5, Ariana Jackson, Learning in Times of Pandemic at J.L. Kane Elementary School. Grades 6 through 8, Aiden Blackman, A Day in the Jungle at Spalding Middle School. And finally, in grades 9 through 12, Nathan Evans with Kathy at Darlington County Institute of Technology. These are our grand prize winners for this year's Art and Business Awards, and so we are very, very excited to honor these student artists as well as their art teachers. You will actually get to see. And you'll be recognizing, the board will be recognizing the 4 finalists with their checks at the next board meeting. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations to all our winners and everyone who participated. Very good.
One question, Audrey. Is
Sir.
that, you said the next board meeting, is that the work session or is
No,
that
sir,
the
at
next
the
regular
May
board meeting?
May board
May
meeting.
board meeting.
Yes, sir, the May board meeting. Oops, I'm trying to disengage, let's see.
Moving on. The next Darlington County Board of Education work session is scheduled for Monday, April 25th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the board training room here in Darlington. And the next regular Darlington County Board of Education meeting is scheduled for May 9th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the board training room here in Darlington. Okay, we're privileged tonight to have our social workers with us. And they're going to give a presentation about what's going on. And Mr. Johnson.
Yes, board members, good evening. Just want to take the opportunity to first, before the presentations, recognize someone who devoted basically 27 years to Darlington County Schools. She will be retiring as of June 30th. And I thought this was just the best time to recognize Ms. Lisa Fagan for her service to Darlington County.
Thank y'all very much. I don't think you'll be getting rid of me. You'll be seeing me around, and I hope to do a lot of volunteer work, help out where I'm needed, help the Carolina kids. But it's just been a rewarding job here with the school district. I tell myself and I tell others, if I can just help one person this week, then that's more than I helped when I started. So it is really, I just can't say enough about the workers that we work as a team. You know, our mission is to serve our children, help keep them safe, give them what they need so they can be more successful in school. I'm going to start off with the workers that we have here tonight. I'm going to start off with Andrea Campbell, who will be the lead social worker when I leave at the end of the school year. Next, we have Pamela Swinney Johnson, Kelly Horn, Allison Butler, Barbara Ford, and Mary Helen Garys. There's 11 of us. Some of them couldn't be here, but we're made up of social workers, school facilitators, and family facilitators, and it's just based on some of us are licensed in social work, and that's what we call it. And then there are 4 under Title I that are called the family school facilitators. And this just gives you a kind of social workers in the schools, just kind of in a nutshell. They're kind of school-age children, families in an educational setting. They serve a unique role with their schools and wear many hats. Some of the things that we do, advocating for parents and students, providing McKinney-Vento, the homeless services, assisting with attendance and truancy, student mediator, counselor, facilitating resources for families and case management. We conduct home visits, assist with any other issues that impede or inhibit students' academic success. And some of the roles that we actually do, we're the liaison between the home, the school, and the communities. We make referrals to appropriate agencies. We make home visits, provide student and family support when needed. We reduce and eliminate barriers to student attendance and educational achievement, conduct screenings to identify the needs of the students, provide transportation for students and parents as needed for meetings, medical visions, and dental services. We also serve on the homebound committee for the school district. We serve on the social emotional learning SEL team, promote and support student academic and success in specialized services like the AIPs, the IEPs, the BIPs, health and developmental history assessments, and the multi-tier student support. And then we'll just go into numbers, and this is actually started with January of 21. We did not do our report with y'all last year, so the data was just run this year. So it started with January of 21 through the 1st of March of 22. Advocacy is where the services that we're doing, a lot of referrals to DSS, visits with DSS, meetings with DSS, and that's 1,640. Attendance intervention plans, 430, and these are all numbers between the 11 of us workers, and these are actual attendance plans that have been written. Counseling and referrals with mental health. There may be a meeting with the school counselor, or a meeting with mental health. Family student support is our biggest area, that kind of anything we do that involve the student or the parents. Home visits at 715, and with the pandemic between last year and this year, our home visits have really decreased, but we're out doing more home visits now, and we're cautious, and you know, we may talk to them on the porch, talk to them from the car, talk to them outside, whatever the case may be.
Ms. Bacon, I think I remember you telling us last time, those numbers represent contacts, right?
Right.
Interactions. Everybody
Yes.
may not quite have understood that. I remember.
It might be a meeting, it might be a Zoom meeting, or a phone conference with the parent. A lot of it is phone contact from last year till now. But we are out in the community, out in the field more now than we have been. And then the actual parent contact. That might be a home visit, phone contact, whatever the case would be. That's the contact that we have actually had with that student's parent or guardian, grandparent, whoever the case may be. Referrals would be referrals that are made. A referral may come to us to check on a student or see about a student, or we may make referrals out to agencies, to counselors, to mental health, etc. School-based meetings are the meetings that we may have with the principal, we may be in on a team, or whatever the case may be, to discuss the needs of the student. Staff consultation would be interacting with staff within the school district. And transportation, as you can see, is low, and that's us actually transporting students to school meetings, to appointments, just wherever they need to go. Academic, this is the referrals that are made regarding maybe an academic problem, an attendance problem, basic needs for a student, which would cover clothing, school supplies, behaviors, if a referral has been made to us, behavior or emotional, and crisis and safety assessments. McKinney-Vento, which is students without a fixed, regular, adequate nighttime residence. We've had 29 in motels, 3 in shelters, and are remaining doubled up or in substandard housing. This year we have 128 students so far that have been identified as homeless, and I think last year we were about 90 at the end of the school year, so that is up. Medical referrals, where a student maybe need to go to the doctor, psychiatrist, psychologist. Mental health referrals, neglect or abuse is referrals or reports that are made to DSS. And the other is just not, you know, we may have a referral to get clothing or get a bed for a child, or it's just, those all fall under just another specific heading. And Carolina Kids, which serves all of our students in the Darlington School District, as of 1st of March, we have served 525 kids with school supplies, hygiene items, backpacks where bags are packed and they take them home on the weekends. And these are done every week. Those receiving clothes through the Darlington Closet is around 110, and they just do school supplies and clothing. And then the children that we served this past year within the school district was about 600 students. Carolina Food Bags is the food bags that I mentioned earlier. We are at like 360 bags that are packed each week. And there are 11 schools that are served, and we do have food pantries in the middle school, and Darlington Middle, Darlington, Hartsville Middle, and Hartsville High. And as of the 1st of March, Carolina Kids helped provide $6,483 for emergency and long-term housing, which included motel fees, rent deposits, electric bills, rent, etc. Happy Feet program, which was started about 4 or 5 years ago with the Rotary Club, they buy gift cards. They partner with She Show and buy gift cards, and we have just completed shopping for students in the Hartsville area, and it was about 155 students that got new shoes. And the United Way is still providing beds, comforters, coats, hats, scarves, belts through the United Way program, and they supply all to our district. And then we have the monthly disciplinary team meetings that meet once a month at the Durant Center. We have been doing Zoom meetings where agencies get together to discuss cases of our children who are struggling in the community or at school, and it's a way to get together and determine what's in the best interest of that student. And then I would like to thank the school district that provide monthly challenges. The school district here provides monthly challenges every month to Carolina Kids. They have collected peanut butter, they collected Pop-Tarts, granola bars, they collected things during Christmas to assist with Christmas. So the district is a big help to us, and we appreciate it. We would like to thank the school board, Dr. Newman, Mr. Johnson, Ms. Roark, Dr. Jenkins, Title I coordinator, Samantha Gainey, and Hannah Teal, who ran the numbers for us.
Any questions, anyone?
Ms. Baker, there were two things. A couple slides back, you had something about home growing. What is that?
Growing homes.
Growing home?
When a report is made to DSS and they don't take the case, they may refer it out to an agency that they contract with, and that's Growing Homes, where they'll contact the family and provide services in the community, whether it be counseling, parenting services, or whatever they feel like that family may need.
And the other question is, we, a couple years ago, provided cars. How is that working?
I mean, it works good. It's just that we haven't used it as much because we weren't providing transportation to parents or to students, but I've used it quite a bit in the last month.
Yeah, I realize it's probably not sufficient, you probably need more than one, but I just.
But it works out. I think we have 2 here in Hartsville, and do they have one in Darlington? And one in Darlington. And we just sign the car out or go to pick up the car.
mental health part, have we had more cases since COVID, or is it,
Yes, sir, we have. And with it, with a lot of referrals come into the schools by them being a mental health counselor in the schools. There's not a mental health counselor in the schools every day, but at Thornwell, there's a mental health counselor there 3 days a week. It depends on the referrals. I know that mental health has been short of counselors. Hartsville High School, they had a counselor, and then she left after Christmas, and so they've had fill-ins. I've taken students to the mental health office to meet with Ms. Thomas. She's been seeing them, so the referrals are there and have increased.
anyone else? We thank you, all of you, for what you do. We hope you enjoy your retirement.
Thank
But
you.
remember, we're still here. We need help.
Ms. Fagan, I would like to again say thank you so much. This is me up here talking, I know you're the speakers, but you all see things that none of us can imagine. You are in homes, from reports, from what we hear from the schools, and I don't think anybody up here or even in our audience can understand some of the situations that you all walk into. But I've just heard over and over and over how incredible it is to have you all be a part of helping our children, and some of the just incredible situations that they're in. I hear you all get calls at night. I hear you get calls on the weekends about families that have either been burned out from a fire or a homeless student, that you all react to immediately. And I just want to say thank you to all of you all for what you do. You don't get enough credit like most of the folks that work in education, but when people talk about front lines, you literally are walking into situations that are some of the worst that our kids are in, and we can't thank you enough for that.
Okay, moving on to quarterly reports. Any questions on any of those? Okay. Budget report, federal funds report. Any questions there? Ms. Renee, anything?
No, we
Still
started,
looking good?
we've been meeting, working on the next budget. Got another update from the Senate at 4:30 this afternoon, and they yet again changed a whole bunch of stuff, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Moving target right now.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving on, potential merger of St. John's Elementary and Rosenwald Elementary. This is a discussion we had at our last work session, and we want to continue to have this discussion now. Just reiterating that no decision has been made on this at all. We're still gathering information, and we just want everybody to know that. And so we'll entertain, starting off with Ms. Hassel. Anything you want to bring up tonight?
I mean, I don't want to go, I mean, in our minutes, it's all reported, you know, everything we had the discussion about last time. I don't know that much has changed from the standpoint. I think the general consensus of this board, and I think this needs to be just firmly stated, renovation of St. John's as an elementary school is not on the table. It is cost prohibitive. We've got so many needs, facility needs in this district, that we do not have the funds to renovate that school and spend that money to the exclusion of all the other facilities that we have in this district that need work. So that is not on the table. So it's not a, you know, build new for St. John's or we're going to renovate St. John's. That's not the option. It's either we will be building new and merging with Rosenwald, or it will stay the status quo. I think there was a discussion about what would happen with the building if we merged. I think the board has, you know, obviously had discussions with the community when Dr. Newman spoke, that there, and I think even the Historical Society lady who just spoke here today, there are grant funds and monies for historical buildings that could give that building a second life. Whether it's life as a school facility, is ending does not prohibit its life in a different realm. So I think what we're still doing, we're in the still gathering information, still willing and listening to people, listening, how can we best serve the students of Darlington County, and that's what we are tasked with here, and also in conjunction with a fiduciary responsibility of how do we manage the funds that we have and how do we best do that. I think I mentioned last meeting, we aren't building schools in this district because we have overcrowded schools or we have, that we are expanding, because we've got new areas. We're consolidating building schools because we're consolidating schools to decrease our cost. And by merging St. John's and Rosenwald, that would be a savings of $2 million a year. And while there's a lot of sentiment around the historical aspects of St. John's and Rosenwald, dollars and cent things of what our taxpayers are putting in, I mean, the opportunity to save $2 million a year is a factor that we have to consider. So while there is no decision that, we have not voted on any decision, we have not made any decision, we're still obviously still having discussions amongst ourselves. I do think there are a lot of factors from that standpoint that we have to consider. Ultimately, if we decide to move on, I can assure you that there are $35 million worth of facility needs in this district that we could spend that money. So.
Thank you. Richard?
I agree with everything Ms. Hassler has said, and I just need our community to realize that we have to be, as a board, and we don't take our decisions lightly, but we need to be proactive in the needs of our students and staff. And just please keep us in your prayers and on your thoughts, and we're still gathering input. No decisions have been made, just as she said, and we're just going to do the best job that we can do as a board.
Well, the only thing I would say is that, as I said for the last several board meetings in our opening prayer, I do hope that whatever decision we make is made with the best interest of our children. At the end of the day, it's about them. It's about educating them. It's about providing the best education for them. And I think at the end of the day, that's the decision that the communities elected us to do. And it's hard to do that without being allowed the opportunity to do it. I think everybody on this board has a genuine love and concern for our children. And at the end of the day, I hope and pray that that would be made based on that decision, on that thought.
Well,
And we don't have public speaking right now.
we had public participation at the first meeting.
I explained that.
I'm sorry, I did not know you had, I didn't know your itinerary, so therefore I didn't know what to follow. When I spoke to you, you didn't give me your itinerary.
It was posted.
I didn't see it, I'm sorry.
But you're welcome to our next meeting at that time.
When is the next meeting?
But
May.
clarify that, the next regular board.
Next regular board
not the
meeting.
work session.
May 9th, I believe.
May
May 9th.
May 9th.
It will be May the 9th. Okay?
Here, what time?
6 o'clock, same room. Okay?
Okay.
That's the sign.
At 6 o'clock.
And again, we go with this, whenever the last 2 or 3 meetings, we're saying the same thing, so we don't want to belabor it, but again, from a different perspective, I guess somewhat, I don't want them to think we're just bullheading and heading in one direction, that we're not considering the historical perspective of things and understanding what Rosenwald has been through over the years and generations. But our thought process from a board, it's got to be for the entire district and what the needs are. While we certainly respect the historical perspective of St. John's as well as Rosenwald, and we understand that an 8-to-1, 10-to-1 ratio in Society Hill is wonderful. We all would want that. I mean, that's what we said when we heard him talk the other night. Hey, I concur, I'm sitting up here, I agree. But then we gotta look over in Lamar and Hartsville and Darlington and say, well, they got a 30-to-1 ratio. So from a board perspective, we can't really do that when we're spending twice or 3 times or 4 times as much per student there as we are here. Again, if we did that, then Darlington and Lamar, we hear the same thing there. So we have to consider the big picture, so to speak, the global perspective. So it's not, we wouldn't want to keep St. John's or Rosenwald, and love to be the oldest school in the state. That is pretty neat. But again, financially, to put that kind of money, to bring it to where we have to bring it, and still questionable whether it would be as well as a new one, then we're taking away from the Lamars and the Hartsville, and then again, back to Rosenwald. If we continue at the population that we're doing over there and serving that population based on the numbers there, again, what's Lamar going to say? I want an 8-to-1, 10-to-1, 12-1 as well as Hartsville. So we've got to look at the total picture and again, and try to make the best decision on behalf of the students. And the historical perspective, again, while we consider it, we really can't really take that into consideration when it comes to the educational process.
Point. Dr. Newman, we don't have any classrooms that have 30 students, any elementary
No.
classrooms that have 30 students.
I'm sorry, Wanda, I don't mean literally.
Okay, I just want to make sure, that's clear,
It's
that it's
less
not
than half, I
reported.
can assure you it's less than half.
Right, I just want to make sure we're clear, we don't have any 30.
Yeah, we try to set our minimums elementary 20.
So legally, we can't do that.
Okay.
Now, middle school classes are a little different, I guess elementary are we try to
Okay,
get
well, when
21.
we're talking about middle school as well, I mean,
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
the point is, we've got almost
Absolutely.
twice or more in some cases, 3 times, so we gotta look at the entire district.
Exactly. Okay. This is a tough decision, folks, and like I said, we have not made a decision on this, it's very touch and go. I appreciate the passion everyone has, both sides, really, pro and con. It's, but our job is here to do what is best for our children, and that's what we're here for. And I promise you, some people, whatever decision we make, I mean, some people will be happy and some people won't be. But in the end, we're going to do what's best for our children, and that's going to drive it. And that's what it's all about. And historically, man, that both places need to be, kept up, repurposed, and whatever if that happens. So we'll need the community's help if that happens. I mean, Mayor, we need your help if it happens. We'll need the people in Darlington if it happens. Historical Commission, whatever. We're all in this together, and we shouldn't be sides. It should be all pulling together to do what's best for our children. That's what we're here for. And some of us have been through this before, and I promise you, it is not a lot of fun to do this. It's but in the end, we'll vote and we'll decide what's best for our children. And this may not happen anytime soon. It may be several months down the road before anything's done. There's no timetable on it right now. So just so everyone knows that. Okay? But like I said, do appreciate everyone, both sides, pros and cons, very passionate. We need to be passionate about our education for our children. We're as passionate for our education as we are for preserving the building. Hey, in good shape. Okay. Anyone else?
I just want to, make the comment that the board has charged me with running the school district from an operations standpoint. I don't have a vote in this. That is our board members' duty and responsibility is to vote. But what I am charged with is to do the job that they asked me to do. And so, as difficult as these discussions are, I see kids every day. I talk to teachers every day. My job is to be doing what I think is in the best interest of our children. Taking input in, but also using the resources and tools that the board has given me. I can tell you that maintaining the buildings, as I said, it's not being negative about the buildings, it's the reality. every year for the past 3 years, we've had significant repairs at St. John's and almost didn't get open to start the school year. And these weren't known repairs. They weren't like things we knew about in advance. They were things that happened suddenly. And so just knowing the amount of time and money and resources to continually do that, but we will continually do that. So that's the other part, is that we will maintain these buildings. I don't want anybody to think that St. John's or Rosenwald is not a safe place to be. It is. And if it wasn't safe, we're going to do what we have to make sure it's safe to have students in it. So rest assured that the buildings will be maintained, but the issues aren't going away. And the costs associated with the repairs, I'm facing some heavy costs right now associated with roofs at St. John's. So does that mean we're not going to do it and we're just going to let the roof leak and fall in? No, we're not going to do that. We can't do that. We have kids in the building. But we will spend significant money. And like the past 3 years, when we start in on it, there'll be significant other costs because we don't know what we don't know until we start tearing pieces out. So it is sensitive, and it's personal for a lot of folks. But for me, I just have to stay focused on making sure that the kids have a safe environment to be in, and to spend the money for operations that the board has charged me with, knowing that everybody that works for the school district, like the social workers you heard, they, we're all just trying to do what we can to make it a better place for our children. That's the best we can do, and we should do that. We should always do that. So just know that as the CEO, the Chief Education Officer, that I have a duty to perform that the board's charged me with. The board has a responsibility to spend the money with the budgets that we're working on. But that we will continue to do everything we can to try to do the right thing for our communities. And we just have to keep talking. We have to keep working together. And hopefully the best outcome will be what's best for our students first and foremost, but then also what's best for our communities.
Let me reiterate one thing. Dr. Newman makes recommendations. The board will have the final decision on this. It will not be his decision. We will make that final decision. Mr. Gohan, got a question?
Well, that's a clarification. I just need, the young lady who asked about speaking,
Yes.
if she comes, she also needs to realize she has to sign up. Because I don't think we said that to her. But if she gets here at 6, she'll need to realize that there's a pad up there, she would need to sign.
And I also say, Warren, I think this board's really enjoyed a good relationship with its community. That's in all of our areas over the years. We go to other board meetings and conventions and things, and we talk to people in the community and other places. They don't have that relationship, and I sure don't want this to spoil the relationship we've had, because we've been able to work well with business and industry and the community alike, and getting things done collaboratively. And I think it's been, like I say, a good relationship. You kind of feel good about serving instead of the adversarial relationship that you hear about so often. So I don't want this. I just want the community to understand it is not us against you. We just had the educational perspective, and we want to take into consideration the historical perspective and do in the end what is best for both. We want the community to continue to do well, both communities. So we want to leave it in a position better than what it was. So again, I just want to keep that relationship being like possible.
We appreciate everyone out there. Like I said, we're all in this together. We want what's best.
I learned a lot listening. I mean, I'll be quite honest, that was very impressive hearing some of the people. I've gone back and I've listened again, and it's just really impressive to hear the history behind everything. And I agree, preservation's important.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to action items, senior laptops and certified retiree laptop.
Chairman Jeffers, members of the board,
members of our audience.
This may not be quite as hot of a topic for the people in this room, but I can promise you there's some seniors out there right now that this is a very hot topic for. We have been, the board has been gracious the past 2 years in acknowledging how difficult COVID has been for our students, and how difficult school has been. And they have rewarded our graduating seniors by gifting them the laptops that they have. And so, again, we have another year. In fact, this year, we've probably been impacted worse by COVID than any other year. We've been through 2 significant surges. Thankfully, we haven't been out of school because of it. But our students have been disrupted greatly. If you think about our seniors, this is year 3 with COVID. And you think about all the times that they have been in and out of school, and that their education has been disrupted by something completely out of our control. So I absolutely recommend that we gift the laptops to our seniors in the school district as a small, very small token of acknowledging how difficult it's been for them, especially 3 years running for them. Our certified retirees as well. I think that's just the right thing to do, goodwill-wise. It's funny because probably 5-10 years ago, retirees weren't asking about keeping computers. They were asking how to work them and use them. Well, now our retirees is just as versed at using them as anybody is. And so I think it's a good gesture to allow our certified employees as well to gift them their laptops that they have. So my recommendation is for seniors, graduating seniors, and our retirees to be gifted their laptops.
What kind of numbers are we looking at?
So graduating seniors, 7.
As of today.
And then retirees are small numbers.
35?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were issued these laptops as sophomores?
Oh, freshmen.
Freshmen. Yeah.
So in the 2019, or 2018-19 year, that would have been their first year.
Okay, so I guess my question is, what do we do with the laptop if we don't gift it to them?
Yeah, so we would repurpose, clean them off, and potentially put them up for sale.
And so what's the resale? I mean, because I think we've had this discussion before.
We have.
I mean, the resale is just not there.
So the current market, and Mr. Brown, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's probably about $200 right now for a 4-year-old used laptop. And let's say if we sold them, to our students or employees, we would probably say, well, we wouldn't charge market value, which is $200. We would probably give them a 50% discount, so maybe $100. So really, you're looking at maybe $100 in revenue per laptop that we would be able to get.
So we're talking about $500.
Yeah, we're not talking about a lot of money.
I mean, so I guess my question is, why are we going through this every year?
You're not talking about $500.
No, it's
If there's 500, there's 500.
Times $100.
5,000. Excuse me, 5,000. I'm sorry, I did my math wrong. That's all right, just a quick math error.
Coming from 30 class members, I'm sorry.
I got you on the 30, you give me on the quick math.
$53,500.
$50,000.
Yeah, that's 60,000, because you got 600 units.
No, he just said,
We're gonna
he
work
said
on
it's
that.
$100.
600,000, $60,000.
So $100 per
Device.
laptop,
The 500.
600,
$600,
Yeah, just round it off, $60,000.
$60,000.
I said, back to my question.
Why do we do this every year?
Why are we going through this? Why are we going through this every year?
Well,
I mean, is there a way to do this?
I mean, we'll make it to a point to where
we just make
we
it.
just,
I think it's evolving to that point. I think technology's evolving to that, And I think if we're talking $60,000 a year, or between, let's say, $60,000 and $70,000 a year, then that may be something the board decides to do. You know?
But for right now, we need to vote on it because it's not saying.
Right. So we can bring it back.
Move forward.
We can bring it back.
Now we're at the third year of doing this.
Yep.
Just need to address this as an issue, so we don't, every year, it becomes a line item.
Mr. Chair, as a grandparent, having seen the savings for parents, if you will, or grandparents, I would make a motion that we accept the recommendation.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion?
Not, we almost through with year one.
Yes.
I told him I'd keep him updated how that laptop worked at college, and it's still working, it's doing well, it's still good.
Okay.
Almost finished the freshman year.
All right. All in favor of the motion? Opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Moving on, superintendent's update.
Chairman Jeffers, members of the board, and members of our audience. I am just have a few items to bring up. The first is that I think we all have seen the news recently about the tragedy in Greenville County, where unfortunately a student was killed in school, in a middle school. And every time that happens, it grabs us, you know, the people that do this every day. It just takes the wind out of you. And that was in Greenville. And so we are constantly assessing how can we do everything to keep our children safe and our students safe in our schools. You know, I can tell you that we do have lockdown drills that we have planned, even though COVID has kind of got in the middle of some of that. We need to be doing that now. If there's ever a reminder that we need to be doing that, it's now, because it's right on our doorstep what happened. And I know drills can be stressful. You know, a lot of people say that you know, it stresses our children out when we do these drills and it scares them. But I got to tell you, I'd rather do a drill and scare a child to know that they're doing the right thing when it really happens and they don't get hurt and they don't get harmed. So we need to do a good job communicating to our parents that we're going to do these drills and kind of talk about what those drills will look like, so they know, and they can talk to their children about it too. That look, don't be afraid, but we've got to be prepared. We've got to have our children and our employees in the right space if something bad happens. One of the things that the media has addressed a lot is that particular school handled it about as best as it can be done, in the way the school was locked down, in the way the student was addressed and apprehended. And so we want to make sure that we've done everything we can to prepare our students and prepare our families for this. So we're going to be doing some messaging. We're going to be putting out some PR about this. And we want to make sure that our parents talk with their children about, you know, don't be afraid. You know, we want to do everything we can to protect you, because in our buildings, you know, we have to make sure that we put everything in place that we can. This will also, we're going to start having some conversations about plastic, you know, see-through backpacks. You know, that's another thing. We need to look at ways that we can assure our parents and our students and our employees that we're doing everything we can. You know, I know clear backpacks aren't, you know, real in vogue fashion-wise, but if I can see what's in it, that doesn't mean it, you know, a kid can't or a student can't put it somewhere else, but that's one less place that they can put it. So I think we need to have these discussions going forward. Again, I'd rather be proactive than reactive. And again, what happened in Greenville recently is just another reminder that we need to continue forward with this. Also, reunification drills, I think the board is aware of. We've already done a reunification drill in Darlington and in Lamar so far. So we need to do a reunification drill in Hartsville, and that's where we simulate a lockdown at a school, and we bus all of the students to a reunification place, and we have a drill to how parents would come to pick their students up. Our law enforcement is involved with this when we do this. We have a ton of school staff that's involved with it, and we have parents that help us too. We have them volunteer to help us with this process because we want to rehearse. We want to see what this looks like. So, God forbid we have to, but we'll be prepared if we do. So we are looking at these items. I just want the board to be aware that you're going to hear more and more about this, and we'll be letting you know and letting our communities know.
Were there any lessons learned from that incident anything that we can take from that to learn? I mean, positive. I know you talked about positive, but the negative. I mean, any?
Yeah, it always comes down to in almost every one of these cases, communication, and people being aware, students being aware and knowing what to say and who to say it to. There are always signs in all these situations, just like there was in Greenville, that there was prior information, but we've got to get that connection between our students and our adults is open as much as possible, to where they'll think of something and not think that it's tattletaling on somebody, but it's actually doing something to potentially save somebody's life. We've got to somehow flip the script from this is wrong to say something versus this is the right thing to do to make sure you and your fellow students are safe. So we just have to do more and more on how to help our students with that. That's adults in our buildings. That's us talking to parents about these things. We've just done the security audit that we've had. That they've been in the schools for the past 5 months, making assessments of all of our buildings and giving recommendations to us. We're going to be coming to the board with that. There'll be a full report that you all will get on the audit that was done sometime over the next month or two, actually. So
is that a public document?
It's not. No, it's not public.
Okay. It makes me nervous.
There'll be a general presentation about the process and what they did and what they looked at, but the actual specifics will be.
I would just prefer to not make it that easy for somebody to
absolutely.
Have intentions.
Those will be private conversations as far as what we can do to help our schools. But I mean, I think the number one thing we can do is to get our kids to be comfortable saying something when they know something may be amiss, in whatever environment that is that they're in. So the next thing I wanted to mention is, and Ms. Douglas referred to this as we look at our budgets moving forward. They kind of wiped the slate clean this afternoon at 4:30 about what their thoughts were on what a budget would look like. So what we've been planning on and what we've been the numbers we've been using and the numbers we've been crunching through for the past 2 months, the Senate pretty much just wiped it clean and put something completely new out there. So I wish I could tell you exactly what that means for us today. I don't know today. We will know. We'll certainly know by the time we have first reading for our budget. We'll know sooner than that. We'll know for our work sessions. But what I will tell you, though, is that you all heard a lot about the teacher salary, and that the proposal was to increase the minimum teacher salary scale at the state level, to increase it by $4,000. The state level right now for starting teachers is $36,000. The Darlington County School District starting pay for teachers is $40,000. So the state's 36 and ours is 40,000 because the board has made sure that Darlington County is leading the PD and teacher pay. So the original proposal was to raise it from 36,000 to 40. But of course, districts like Darlington were not going to receive a dime for their teachers because we were already paying 40. So now the new wrinkle is that's off the table. And now they're talking a $2,000 increase for every cell on the beginning teacher salary to raise it to 38. But then they're talking about any additional monies that they have, that they're going to split them up in a new way and give those to the school districts. Now, what that new way is, stay tuned. So what we kind of had at least a rough sketch of that we thought we were going to get, that's not the case anymore. So I have a feeling it's going to mean that we get less money, just what I'm seeing so far. Just one brief stroke through it, but again, we will continue to crunch the numbers. We'll try to have some better information for you. But I need to make you aware of it because this is going to be in the media tonight because it just came out this afternoon. And you're going to hear some different conversations now.
So there's no way that the 4,000, that the House proposal, that's dead in the water, that's dead.
The Senate is saying that this is our version. So, and it was after, I will tell you this, there was some testimony last Tuesday, I believe, from several school districts and their CFOs and superintendents about the concerns about that funding formula. And for example, our situation where we were not going to get any money to give our teachers raises because we were proactive, but yet people who weren't proactive, they were going to get lots of extra money. So that drove part of this conversation, but that's where the Senate is.
Okay.
Stay tuned. And then I think there is one other. I see Mr. Jeffords, I believe. Mr. Jeffords, I believe you handle this each year. This is the officer board nominations for the South Carolina School Boards Association. This is for the delegate assembly. Nominations for officer board. And so I believe, Mr. Jeffords, you get the responsibility of checking with our board members on any nominations.
Is anyone interested at the state level? Mr. Govan, anything here for you? That you need?
Well, my term on the state board is still current. I think that letter actually has reference to if we, for an example, if I decided that I wanted to run for Secretary Treasurer, let's say, which ultimately moves up to the President of the Association, I would need to have the endorsement of this board in order to do that. Now, if I were to win, then that means that there becomes a vacancy on the state board that would be replaced by someone from the 4 counties that represent this region. This region is represented on the board of Chesterfield, Marlborough, Darlington, Lee, Kershaw, 5 counties.
Does anyone have interest? Anytime? Okay.
I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, the last thing on my list is, lo and behold, it's spring break time. And so I'm glad to say that as of this coming Friday, starting Friday, April 15th, through the following week, our students will be not in school. our employees will be out, most of our employees will be out that same time frame. Certainly our school employees will be. We will have limited staff at the district office next Thursday and Friday, but it will be a skeleton crew, so to speak. But certainly our school personnel, they'll be out the entire time. And so we will plan on returning back to school, everybody, on the 25th of April. But we're just excited that there's going to be some downtime for our students and their families, but also for all of our employees and staff. So just wish everybody a safe, safe time out, and just, that our staff and employees re-energize, relax, re-energize. The good news is there's only 5 weeks left in the school year when they come back. So this 5 weeks is going to go really quickly for us. But I would just say that it's a well-deserved spring break for everybody. That's everything I have for my superintendent's update.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any questions of the superintendent? Anyone? Okay, we'll move on to board member input. Jamie, we'll start with you.
Good.
Okay.
There are a couple of things. Number one, I would like to congratulate the local and district winners of the art competition. I hope that they will enjoy the monetary funds that they're going to be given, and we'll use them for the art supplies. As I guess I need to let this board know that what Dr. Newman just talked about as it relates to Greenville, I took it upon myself, since I am on the state board, to call Chuck Saylor, who is the immediate past president of the association, to offer our condolences in the situation that happened in Greenville, because he and Lisa are members of that board, and I want them to know that we in sympathy with them as to what happened. And the other, I guess my last question, Dr. Newman, is we talked about backpacks, clear packs. I would like for you to kind of give us an idea when you present it of cost, because I think that's going to be one thing that parents and others are going to be concerned about, if there's a differential between the bags that they are now using versus that clear bags. That's it.
Richard?
I'd just like to congratulate all those involved in that art competition. Beautiful artwork throughout. And also like to say many thanks to our school social workers. I honestly did not know that they did touch so many different areas. It was an eye-opener. I'd also like to say thank you to all our staff out there for the great job that you're doing, and I wish you the best spring break next week that you could ever have.
Okay. Ms. Wanda?
I'm good.
Good? Good.
I'm good.
Good?
I'd just like to say, for all of our students and staff, everyone have a safe and enjoy your spring break. Remember what the actual meaning for Easter and all is. You spend time with your families. And as far as it goes for the merger and all, everyone, keep in mind we've got a tougher job than anyone else realizes. Yes, we have a lot of input to take in on, but ultimately, we're keeping our children in mind when we make our decisions. That's it.
Okay. All right. I'd like to welcome everyone. Hope they have a happy Easter. You deserve this break, no doubt about that. Also, Mr. Johnson, our next meeting, work session, could you give us kind of an update on the construction, where we're coming on some of these minor projects? Appreciate that. Mr. Chuck, how are we coming?
Yes, sir, and 51 as of this afternoon, and that's pretty evenly split everywhere except middle school. Middle level's in pretty good shape with
That's
5.
gonna be for this next year, right?
That's
what we're
correct.
talking about.
That's correct, but this is the season when everything's moving right now. There's a lot of moving and shaking going on, so.
How do you feel? You feel pretty good about where we are?
Yes, sir. It's actually better than we've been in years past on this day.
Okay, so we'll kind of move on. And, one thing, congratulations again, to all our winners, our art winners. Anyone who participated, you're all winners, and our grand winners, we really are proud of you, and hope y'all continue to prosper. Okay, we'll move on to personnel actions.
Chairman, I move that we accept the recommendation of personnel along with the agenda with their reason.
I'll second.
Second. Okay. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, executive session. We're gonna take a motion.
I move that we enter executive session to discuss personnel matters.
Second.
Personnel.
Second.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We're now going to executive session.
Where'd everybody go?
All right, we're now back in open session. Luke made the motion to come out and seconded by Richard. We're now back in open session. I would entertain any motions.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation for the principal at Mayo High School for the 2022-23 school year.
Second.
Second, Luke. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, have another motion. In light of the board's awareness and concern of the national and, more importantly, the state and local teacher shortage, I make a motion that we accept the administration's recommendation to give all certified employees a $1,500 net retention bonus, and all classified employees a $500 net retention bonus, with the certified bonus being contingent upon the employees signing their contract for the 2022-23 school year.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. That's it.
I move we adjourn. Taking Dr. Dawson's move.
All in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Thank you. We stand adjourned.
Thank you all. I was wondering,